Joseph, you're the Chief Investment Officer of Casey Family Programs. I'd be interested in your perspective on, what you've done so far in terms of Africa, how you're looking at the opportunity, time scale, and types of things that you're getting involved in.
Okay. Good afternoon, and you can tell from my last name, I'm not the soccer player or the football player, thank goodness. But I can say something about investing or investments in Africa. We actually have investments in Africa. We're an early adopter. Needless to say, we've also had some experiences and some scars, on the back. Casey Family Programs is a private foundation in the United States which caters to the needs of children in foster care. And the founder is Jim Casey from UPS. The family together left about $7 billion to take care of children, and they call it the disadvantaged children in the US. But in terms of investments, we go everywhere. We are basically geographic agnostic. So we invest in the US, we invest in Asia, LATAM, Africa, and we invest in all sectors, both public, private. Now, if you talk about the African story, we've moved beyond what I call the basic consumer story, that is the eat, drink, wear, wash, and so forth, and looking more at the infrastructure which underlies growth in these economies. But we also are very intentional because growth does not necessarily translate into dollars in my pocket. At the end of the day, when we make these investments, we expect to make a decent return on it. And we strongly believe that given the organic growth, the demand, pent-up demand for services, Wale talked about the technological change. You can talk about cell phones, you can talk about the gap which existed if you take the 80s and even the 90s, and currently there's pent-up demand for many goods and services. And if one were to look at the S-curve, as incomes increase, demand tends to outstrip it. We believe the opportunity on the ground is enormous, and we have investments in all countries to the extent that they're investing on the public side. We have some private investments in real estate, looking at some private equity investments also, and have even considered making investments at the entity level. Now, that's the opportunity. What's the cost? Execution is always a problem. Knowing people who know their stuff, who can make things happen, as opposed to words, because words are cheap. But we want people who really understand what is going on. So having a trusted person on the ground, we find it to be key to success. And one size does not fit it all. So the way we look at stuff here in the US might be different, on the continent. Of course, foreign exchange and the challenges that comes with it, being US denominated fund is also a problem we look at. But having said that, we believe the opportunity is enormous, and Africa is always going to have a place in the fund. Currently, I'm overweighted in emerging markets, and Africa is a dominant part of it.
Okay, Joseph, thank you very much.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.